Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina collectively have a population of over 26 million people. However, despite this sizable population, all major metropolitan areas within these states are situated well inland, deviating from the pattern observed in the northeastern states and Florida. This raises the question, why is the East Coast, particularly the southeastern region, less populated along the coast? Today, we'll delving into another sparsely populated area in the USA as we shift our focus to the southeast, where, despite having millions of residents compared to the northeast and Florida, there's a noticeable absence of coastal residents. Overview: the vacant East Coast, covering the eastern counties of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, possesses distinctive geographic features that have influenced both human settlement and economic endeavors. This region is predominantly recognized for its smooth sandy beaches, barrier islands, and vast salt marshes. Yet the beauty of these barrier islands comes with a drawback. Although they offer some defense against Atlantic forces, they are often unstable, posing challenges for significant and lasting human activities like major port operations. Inland from the coast, the landscape gradually rises, forming rolling hills and low mountains, shaping the historical industries primarily focused on agriculture. A thriving plantation economy, cultivating crops like tobacco, cotton, and rice emerged, leading to a significant increase in slavery in Georgia and South Carolina due to the demand for large labor forces. These historical events have a lasting impact on the Southeast, influencing both its economy and demographic composition. Today, the Southeast remains the primary residence for most Black Americans, with approximately 56% of the nation's Black population residing in the entire southern region as of 2021, with Atlanta hosting around 2.2 million, ranking second only to New York City. In Northern Carolina, the landscape becomes more diverse, transitioning from the flat coastal plain to the elevated Piedmont region and eventually reaching the Appalachian Mountains. This variation introduces forestry and mining as additional economic activities in the region. The empty East Coast is also characterized by notable rivers like the Savannah, serving as the natural border between Georgia and South Carolina, and the Cape Fear River in North Carolina. Although these rivers have been crucial for local trade and transportation, they lack the size necessary to support significant maritime trade, unlike the Mississippi River and St. Lawrence River, which played such roles in the Midwest of the United States and Canada, respectively. Lastly, it's crucial to highlight the region's exposure to severe weather conditions, particularly hurricanes. This not only has shaped the natural environment, but has also influenced how people choose to live and conduct activities. The ongoing threat of natural disasters has consistently played a role in the planning and development of this coastal area. Since 1990, a total of 56 hurricanes and tropical storms have hit this region, making it one of the riskiest places to live in terms of preparedness for natural disasters. While Florida experiences more hurricanes overall, it faces them from both the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. The empty East is a fascinating part of the country. However, if you haven't noticed, its history and geography have presented challenges in establishing significant population centers on the coast. Let's delve into why that is. History: the southeast coast of the United States, specifically in Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, underwent a distinctly different development compared to its northern counterparts. Unlike states such as New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts, which have deep harbors carved by glaciers fostering the growth of major cities, the southern coastline features extensive barrier islands, salt marshes, and flat plains. The lack of natural harbors in this region meant that these states didn't become significant hubs for maritime trade. This geographical limitation triggered a series of effects on the population, directing it towards an agricultural emphasis that continues to have long-lasting effects even today. Barrier islands offer defense against the Atlantic Ocean, but lack stability for crucial maritime operations needed for major ports. Unlike New York City, which developed on a natural harbor shaped by ancient glacial ice, allowing it to bear development's weight with minimal impact. The southern states, devoid of such harbors, couldn't easily engage in transatlantic trade that spurred industrialization and urbanization in northeastern cities. Instead, the Southeast witnessed the rise of plantation economies centered on cash crops like rice, cotton, and tobacco. The flat inland areas were ideal for large-scale agriculture, flourishing in the hot, humid climate. Plantations, requiring a substantial labor force, resulted in the tragic importation and enslavement of Africans, a historical atrocity with enduring social and cultural repercussions on the region and the entire country. Spanning manufacturing, shipping, and later technology, the Southeast specialized in a plantation system driven by forced labor from slavery. This plantation-centric economy hindered urbanization, as plantations were mostly self-sufficient and didn't heavily rely on urban centers for labor or goods, unlike manufacturing. Emerging towns and cities were primarily geared towards supporting agriculture, not industrial production. Even notable rivers like the Savannah and Cape Fear couldn't compensate for the lack of natural harbors, serving more for internal trade than as gateways for international commerce. Today, the region's geography still shapes it, despite economic diversification and technological progress. The Southeast's historical emphasis on agriculture has left a lasting impact. While cities like Atlanta and Charlotte have become major metropolitan areas by becoming transportation hubs and expanding their economies, the coastal areas still reflect a bygone era dominated by plantations and an agrarian lifestyle. Population. Although the coastal areas of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina are picturesque, they haven't drawn the same crowded populations as seen in the Northeast Florida, or even nearby metropolitan centers like Atlanta and Charlotte. Putting aside historical reasons like the absence of natural harbors and an economy centered around plantations, various modern factors account for this difference in population density. Cities and metropolitan areas are the main attractions for people, and job opportunities in these coastal regions are often fewer and less diverse compared to other parts of the country. While tourism, agriculture, and fishing play roles, they don't offer as many jobs as industries like manufacturing. Major metropolitan areas such as Atlanta, Charlotte, and the Raleigh-Durham Research Triangle have turned into significant corporate hubs, drawing in young professionals and providing a variety of jobs. However, this has led to these metro regions absorbing economic vitality from potential major coastal cities. Infrastructure, particularly in transportation, plays a significant role in this trend. Major cities often function as key transportation hubs, facilitating convenient domestic and international travels for residents. In this region, Atlanta has risen as the central transportation hub, eclipsing nearby cities. Once a major rail center, Atlanta now boasts the country's largest airport. Consequently, smaller cities like Savannah, Georgia, lack comparable transportation infrastructure, making them less appealing for businesses. Currently, the discussed region has a population just above 10 million, a significant number, but relatively sparse compared to other eastern regions. Leading metropolitan areas include Columbia and Charleston, South Carolina, each with around 820,000 and 800,000 residents. In North Carolina, Fayetteville and Wilmington have populations of 520,000 and 282,000, and Savannah, Georgia has 400,104 people. Despite their size, these metro areas collectively fall short of Atlanta's 6.1 million, a notable fact given Charleston predates Atlanta by over 150 years. Atlanta versus Charleston. Interestingly, although Atlanta is by far the largest city in the southern region, Charleston, South Carolina predates Georgia's capital by more than 150 years. Given its position on the Atlantic coast, the colonial rule's desire for easy access to new lands, and the need for water-based transportation methods, Charleston should have likely become the dominant city in the southeast instead of Atlanta. However, history often unfolds differently. One key factor in the city's evolution is Atlanta's role as a transportation hub. Initially established as a railway junction called Terminus, Atlanta's strategic location served as a central point connecting various forms of transport. This link joined the agricultural richness of the South with markets in the Midwest and Northeast. The city's centrality was further enhanced by the growth of the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, now one of the world's busiest, attracting both businesses and residents. Despite Charleston having a century-long advantage, its physical geography posed limitation not shared by Atlanta. Charleston, situated on a peninsula between the Cooper and Ashley rivers and the Atlantic Ocean, faced constraints hindering its expansion. Unlike Atlanta, which had more space for outward growth, Charleston's geographical confines limited its development. The low-lying coastal terrain around Charleston made it more susceptible to sea level rise and extreme weather, potentially discouraging significant investments and large-scale urban development. Social and cultural factors also influence the cities differently. Both are vibrant cultural hubs, but Atlanta, known as the unofficial capital of the South, has gained recognition by hosting international events like the 1996 Summer Olympics and being a pivotal location for influential civil rights movement. Although Charleston is culturally rich and historically significant, it hasn't hosted events with comparable international or national impact. In essence, when Atlanta was established, it had numerous advantages, and by 1890, it had already surpassed the most populous city in South Carolina. It's fascinating to observe the geographic development of the Northeast and Southeast. There's almost a discernible trend where, heading south, major population centers gradually move away from the Atlantic coast. Even though many coastal communities may not match the population size of Atlanta or Charlotte, they still possess significant cultural and historical attractions. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more interesting contents just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.